Good morning, family. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, blessed day. We're here for our 12 days of candy, and we are on day 8. We are getting there. We are seeing the finish line now. And today, I'm doing our family's beloved peanut butter balls. It's the candy that everybody loves. They can't wait. My husband said this morning he had to go in for a couple hours for work this morning. He goes, "You're making peanut butter balls today?" And I said, well, he might not have said it with that accent, but he said, "Are you making peanut butter balls today?" And I said, "Yes, honey, I'm making peanut butter balls today." He goes, "Oh yeah." That's more how he says and how more he talks. "Oh yeah, you're making peanut butter balls." So, and my little girl will be so happy when she crawls out of the cave this morning that there are peanut butter balls in the house. And like I said, we're all trying to watch our weight a little bit, so I've let us all have like a sampling out of each one of these candies, and as soon as we have a sampling, they are Ziploc tied up, bagged up, and put in buckets to be given to other people as Christmas gifts so that we don't eat all the product, because that wouldn't be a good thing. But I hope you guys are having a wonderful, blessed day. I'm having a wonderful, blessed day. I thought whenever I was a kid and we made peanut butter balls, we would sit around the table. And it's a little sad I'm sitting at the table by myself. Whenever I was a child and a young woman, it would be me and my grandma and my aunt and a couple cousins, and we would all be in the kitchen, and we'd all have a bowl and our own peanut butter and our own stuff, because we had to make a lot of peanut butter balls, because when they cooked a meal for somebody for Christmas or Thanksgiving, and we had the same meal at Thanksgiving, the same meal at Christmas, you had to have tubs of peanut butter balls. And we would make the coconut balls, and we would make them different colors. And we were just festive, and we did a lot of things and a lot of candy making, a lot of giving of candy. But Grandma went to be with the Lord, and a year later, I lost my aunt. She went to be with the Lord, and for a while, I couldn't do those traditions. I couldn't make the candies. I couldn't think about the things that we used to do anymore. And I even kind of ran away from everybody for a little while, I would say. Just because. So, but here's the thing. After a few years, God gave me a Harold as as a life mate and a husband and a best friend to walk through life with. And then he gave me 2 beautiful children when I married him. And then we had a surprise baby that nobody thought was going to happen. And he thought I was the perfect woman. He had a 12-year-old. He had a 12-year-old son and a 9-year-old girl. And he thought, this is the perfect woman. She can't have children. We already have some. I already have some. And he was 39 years old, and he did not want to start over with a little baby. And we got married in May of 2006, and in December of 2006, God did a miracle. And so at the ripe old age of 41 and young age, and I was right before being 35, I had a miracle. So Megan is a miracle baby. And so and the other 2, all children are miracles, but she's my miracle. She was my mountain that I had to overcome, and God did that for me. So I started thinking about these traditions. I wanted to do them again. I wanted to make the candy. And the first year I made it, I don't know if I got through a bowl of peanut butter balls without tears. And I'm not going to have tears today because you guys are with me, and I'm making new traditions, and there'll be a day in the future, and I'm getting a little misty-eyed, but I'm not going to cry, that we will all be together again, and every tear shall be wiped away. And I think we're going to have a better feast than peanut butter balls. But Jesus does know how Grammy Nene loves peanut butter balls. So he may have a few peanut butter balls on the feast table. We'll just have to see. But anyway, Let's get in here and cook these. I've kind of held off on these because I knew I would be a little emotional. I'll be right back. I'm going to take a minute. Okay. I think I have myself under control where we can make some peanut butter balls this morning. Somebody's going to watch this video and they're going to say, what is that crazy woman crying over some peanut butter balls? And it's just that this is the one candy that has so many memories in it. And because we made so many of them, we made them forever and we would just laugh and have conversation. But I'm good. We're going to laugh and we're going to have conversation today. And somebody else out there might be, hurting. I talked to a little lady the other day, and I don't mean to make these videos so long and just talk, but it's who I am. And that's how I roll and how it is and how I am on the inside. I just share everything. I'm just an open book. But she's a lady. She come in the library and she's in her 70s and she has lost 2 of her 3 children. And one of them she lost around Christmas. And she got a Christmas tree this year. And it has been near 20 years that she didn't celebrate Christmas. And she just felt it this year. She felt it was time to put a tree up. And I asked her, how was she doing? Was she enjoying her tree? She said, I turn it on every day when I first wake up. And I don't turn it off till I go to bed at night. And she said, and it's just joy. And the Christmas trees don't mean anything spiritually. But it just adds a little something to us every year. I wish we could just have Christmas trees up all year, but I don't think they would be as special. But she felt ready after 20 years to celebrate. But she said she did have some tears when she first put it up. So that's kind of what peanut butter balls are for me. They were a tradition, and it was a little while that I couldn't do them. But anyway, let's move on and let's make peanut butter balls, because I will cry again, because I know me and I know that I will. And so if there's anybody out there and you're just struggling, put it down in the bottom. I'll pray with you. We'll pray together. We'll get through it. If I had a girl that left me a message the other day, and I could see it, but she had deleted it. And it said, I unexpectedly lost my parents and my brother. And she said that I was bringing her joy, and I so would like to talk to her. I so would like to talk to her and let her know. And I couldn't remember her name. Like I said, I could barely see it, and she had deleted it out of the comments, so I never could find her. But no, we're praying for you. I'm hoping that my comment page at the bottom will become a community of people who will pray for one another, that we will bind together and love each other and pray for people. And we will teach other people that maybe not have the same faith and same beliefs as us, that we love you. You're welcome. Everybody's welcome. Okay, I put some stuff in here, and I didn't even tell you what I was doing, because I just thought about that message, and I wanted to put that out there, because there's some hurting people this year. It's been a lot of people lost loved ones with COVID. Whole families wiped out. So we need to be praying. We need to be loving folks. 1 cup of powdered sugar, because I'm only going to make a small batch. Now, when I get off this camera, I'm going to have one of them big old bowls, and I'm going to be stirring some peanut butter balls, but we're just going to make a small batch together. Just a little intimate batch of peanut butter balls together this morning. Just you and me. All of my friends. All my friends. My husband says, he said, you have been so happy. And I have. Because I see the Lord fulfilling promises. I see him fulfilling things in my life. So we are going to start adding this. Like I said, 1 cup of powdered sugar and a half a cup of peanut butter. Now, I know some people's recipes call for butter. Mine never did. Mine never called for, we never put butter in ours. We just did peanut butter and powdered sugar. And I'm trying to follow a recipe. And with most of my stuff, my grandma would say, I'd say, how does this look, Granny? And she would say, you need more peanut butter than that. Or you need to put some more powdered sugar. We never measured anything. So I got out my old-timey Betty Crocker cookbook this morning. and I kind of looked into a recipe, and I'm going to tell you right now, that's going to need some more peanut butter. Betty Crocker, we put more peanut butter in this. I'm going to be right back. Let me go get the jar of peanut butter. We're going to make these this morning. We're going to make them good. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I don't know if I got enough peanut butter or not. I'm going to be honest with you. This is little. Whenever I was a young woman, you used to could go in the store and buy a bucket of peanut butter. It would come in a bucket like ice cream, like an ice cream bucket, and you can't find them anymore. I've looked for them at Sam's. Sam's just sells you multiple jars taped together, but you used to get a bucket and it had circus people on it. And I wanted to eat that peanut butter, but it was for Christmas candy. So we're going to add another half a cup. I'm going to have to give y'all measurements, so we're going to say, but I'm just going to tell you, you're going to have to learn how to do some things with your eyes, with the way it looks. You don't want it too wet because you can't roll them out. Ain't no way I'm rolling that out. Now, that might taste good, but it ain't going to make a ball for us. So I put another half a cup in there. So now we got a cup of powdered sugar and a cup of peanut butter. We're even. I didn't think that was going to look right. But like I said, I'm trying to follow recipes so you guys can follow me cooking. So you guys can follow me and be with me. And we can have discussions about it later. And somebody can say, are you talking about Buckeyes? And I'm like, yep, I'm talking about Buckeyes. This is Buckeyes to some people in different parts of the country. But in good old Tennessee and Arkansas, probably some other places in the South, it's a peanut butter ball. And I have to say it with a really good accent. It's a peanut butter ball. So, now my hands are clean. I washed them very good. Very well. You're welcome, English teachers. I washed them well and made them nice. And so now we're going to get in there with our hands because this is starting to look like the consistency of what we need. And I'm going to turn you guys back down so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, so now I'm just going to take my hands and I'm going to start working all that extra powdered sugar in there. We're going to make this, it almost makes into a dough. And I mean, seriously, you probably could just take this and bake it off and make some delicious cookies. And it's still a little dry, but I don't want to get it too wet because they won't roll. They won't roll right. You put them over here on this parchment paper and they'll just kind of dissolve on you. Like I said, I've made these enough to know that you have to have them. You don't want them so dry that people are coughing when they're eating them. That would be horrible. I never even thought about that. It's going to take just a little bit more peanut butter, but we're just going to add just a dollop of peanut butter. And like I said, you have to kind of add these ingredients as you need it, just maybe another tablespoon. Let me get it added in there. I don't want to grab a handful of peanut butter, so I've got to get it on the other side of the dough. And that's starting to feel, ooh, my grandma would be proud. I'll tell you a little something about my grandma. She was born in 1926. We never called her grandma. She was Granny. And my grandmother lost her brother. He choked on a safety pin. And her mother had another brother, another baby. My grandmother was the oldest. Let me start with that. And when she was 4, her mother gave birth to a baby boy. And when he was 2, he choked on a safety pin. And her mother was pregnant with her second baby brother, and he was born, but her mother never overcame the birth, and she lost her mother when she was 6, and she went to live with grandparents, and she was raised by her grandparents, and her grandparents were still having children, which was kind of the way things went in those days. And so she was raised with uncles and aunts that became like her brothers and sisters. Okay, I'm going to start forming balls. And that's what you're looking for. You want it to be a little sticky. You want it to be a little sticky. You want it to look like a giant glob of peanut butter deliciousness. But my grandmother married my grandfather. How I am from the 3rd marriage. And so now we're going to start putting them over here on parchment paper. And you're going to have to let these dry out a little bit before we put them in the chocolate. I'm probably going to stick mine in the refrigerator. And so I just roll them really good. And there you go. Look how shiny and pretty that is. So we're just going to start putting them over here. Okay. So, but my dad is the oldest of the third, my father. Because I have a father and I have a dad. You hear me talk about my dad, that's my stepfather. He raised me since I was 3, and I have a father. Well, I am a product of teenage parents. We're going to have a chat while I'm making peanut butter balls. And my mother was 16 when she married my father, and my father was, I believe, 18 when they got married. And they both had lost their fathers. Both of my grandfathers died before I was born in their 40s from massive heart attacks. And that one's a little big, but we're going to leave it. So, anyway, when I was 3 and my brother was 1.5 years old, my father left us. And my mother was very close to my grandmother, who was her mother-in-law. And my grandmother let my mother stay with her. I think my father actually left us before then. But Mama was close to her. And when my mama dated my stepfather, who is my little daddy, he actually picked her up from her mother-in-law's house. So my mother never kept us from my biological dad's mom and his sister. And like most people who are divorced, every other weekend you would go to your father's house or your mother's house, whoever had how the custody worked. Well, every weekend we were at my grandma's. My grandma took us to doctors because my mama had to work. My grandma took us to ball games because my mama had to work. And she was that second mother to us. And my aunt was my best friend. She has been gone for almost 16 years, and I can tell you their phone number still. And so my grandmother, that's why I cried, because it was such a, she was like a second parent. She was like, I lost my parent when my grandmother. In the last 9 years of her life, she had dementia. She always knew who I was. And then my aunt was only 47 years old. She was a year younger than me. And she passed away. She had lung cancer, and she had to have surgery. And she had complications from the surgery. She left behind a 12-year-old daughter. She actually had a miracle baby at the same age that I did. We were kind of alike. I just wanted to share that because my grandmother was special. And she taught me a lot about cooking. She taught me sewing. She taught me how to be a good grandma. And just how to be a good person. And she's the one that drove me to church. My mother was a Christian, but my mother worked every Sunday. She worked for Shoney's. She was started out as a waitress and worked up to a dining room supervisor. Anyway, wonderful memories. And I'm sure you guys have wonderful memories of family. Now, this didn't quite make a big pan, but this is one of those extra big commercial cookie sheets. It made, let's see how many it made. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21. It made 21. And you can see that when that came together, it really didn't stick to that pan. It's almost like making yeast dough. Whenever your dough's ready to take out a knead, if you're doing it in a bowl, is whenever it all comes together. Well, these peanut butter balls are similar. They're the same way. I do not want to touch my camera right now because I will get peanut butter all over it. So I'm going to take these and put these in the refrigerator, and we're going to put them in there for about 30 minutes. Then while that's doing that, I'm going to show you how I melt my chocolate in the double boiler. So I'll be right back. I've got to reposition my camera. But I like to hear some of you guys' memories, some good memories. And it can be about candy. And I know candy's just candy, but especially with us women, and there may be a man out there. I'm not excluding my gentlemen that watch, but we're taught by our people. Let's go ahead and so everything that we do during the holidays is usually connected to a memory. So today I have made a memory with you guys. We made peanut butter balls. We're not done with them yet. We got to put some delicious chocolate on them. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. My peanut butter balls have been in the freezer I put them in the freezer, but you can put them in the refrigerator for about an hour. But I'm in a hurry because I got to do divinity and it's going to rain this afternoon. So I'm trying to move along. You don't like to do divinity if the pressure is different, and I still don't know how it's going to turn out. But today is divinity day, however it turns out. So because we didn't make but just a small batch of peanut butter balls, I've got one of these 20-ounce packages of almond bark, chocolate flavor, and it has 12 of these little bars in it. I'm using half of it. So whatever you got, I know someone said they went to Aldi's, and Aldi's is a little bit different shape. And but just use half of your package. If we need to add a little bit, we will. You can see I got my double boiler going over here. Get you guys kind of turned. I'll get you a little closer once I get there. I'm going to add these 6 blocks in here. And I kind of just leave them alone. I don't stir them until they've melted down. I just kind of want to show you how I build the double boiler. This was an old pressure cooker that my mama used to use to make beans. She'd come home from work and we'd want a mess of beans. If you're from the South, a mess of beans, a pot of beans. But we'd want a mess of beans, and Mama would put them in there, and she put some ham in there, and she put that on there. And the beans that would take all day long to cook on the stove was done in half the time, and we'd have beans for dinner. Sometimes she'd put chicken in there and make a chicken and dressing, but I got water in there, and I've got it at a good boil, and then I just set a glass bowl on top. And I just kind of leave them in there till they melt. And that's a double boiler. And so those are going to continue to melt. Like I said, I don't really stir them. I just kind of let them come down. And then when they're all the way melted, then I'll give them a stir. And then we're going to start dipping them chocolate peanut butter. They ain't chocolate peanut butter balls until I dip them. We're going to start putting those peanut butter balls in the chocolate. Then they'll be chocolate peanut butter balls. Be right back. The chocolate's melted. And I'm going to turn the camera where you guys can see. And I just want to tell you, I'm sorry I cried over peanut butter balls. It was the sitting at the table that got me. But anyway, somebody out there, maybe it might touch you. But let's finish these peanut butter balls up. You guys got other things to do today besides be in the kitchen all day with Grammy Nene. Let's lower this down just a little bit. I really want you to be able to see everything. Okay, so with my double boiler, once they start melting, I kind of let it lay down so that I make a well of chocolate down here. And I'm pretty sure we're all melted. We got just a little tiny bit. I kind of pull that chocolate down to the bottom. And remember I told you I like to do everything at the stove because that way I don't have to worry about my chocolate cooling. So, now here's the cool thing. You may not have these. These are fondue sticks. My husband bought me a fondue candle set and I broke the pot to it when we first got married, but I kept the sticks. And they have become the best chocolate dipper, which that's what they do. So I put them in the chocolate and I spin them. And I go over here and I put them right there. And I take a metal spoon. And of course you guys can't see what I'm doing because it's off the thing. So let's do this one. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what we're doing. Got it on the skewer. I'm going to put it in the chocolate and I'm going to spin it. And I'm going to spin it off of the chocolate. And then I'm going to put it on the pan. And I'm going to kind of bring that back out. And if it leaves a little thing like that, you just take your spoon and you just put a little dollop of chocolate on the top of it. You can do a little swirl. And at this time, if you had sprinkles or whatever, you could put them on the top of it right now. We don't really like sprinkles. We just like them like this. I think they got enough going on. Powdered sugar, peanut butter, and chocolate. You can do them white chocolate. You can cover them with butterscotch. You can cover them with anything. You can add to the mix when you're mixing up the peanut butter. You can put cereal. And see, I didn't spin that one. And did you see how it, as I was talking, how it kind of made it? But that's going to be pretty. It's going to look like a helmet. We love them like that. But you can add cereal when you're mixing up the peanut butter. You can put cereal in there. You can put nuts. You can do anything you want to these peanut butter balls. They're going to turn out the same. You just got to make sure you have that dough consistency, that stick with a little stickiness to where they will make a ball. And so I'm spinning, and now that's no longer trying to drip off of there. And then I set it down. I take the other spoon and kind of push that off. A little bit of chocolate, and I do a little swirly at the top. And I've been making these since I was a kid. And now we didn't have fondue sticks. Boy, we could have used a fondue stick. When I was a kid, we used toothpicks, and sometimes you would lose that peanut butter ball and that chocolate. And my grandma would say, "You better fish that peanut butter ball out of that chocolate, girl." And of course, I went a fishing, and I got it out. And I didn't spin this one either. But it's okay. There's no wrong way of doing them. They're going to have a delicious flavor. I just kind of, since I'm giving these as gifts, to want them to have that pretty swirl going on. And like I said, I only did a half a thing because we're just doing a small batch of these. Make sure you do a swirl on them. And that kind of lets that chocolate sit up. Okay. I'm going to finish doing these because I'm trying to make these videos a little shorter because I want to make sure I don't lose you guys in the cooking of these. I want you to stay with me from beginning to end. So I'm going to finish these, and we're going to come back and taste one. Okay? All right. Be right back. Okay. I'm back. We is fixing to pull these out of the freezer, and they are set up, and they are delicious. So let me kind of put you down here. And I'm going to go over here and pull these out. And they are beautiful. They are beautiful. I don't know if you guys can see them. But see how I put the little swirl on the top of them? Let me get one of them off of here. See that beautiful swirl? See how pretty that is? And see, imagine if you did them in white chocolate, white almond bark, and you did that, and then when they were still wet, you put a little bit of maybe the sprinkles that are like candy canes or holly berries, or you colored the white almond bark. You could really make these festive. We're just plain. We just like them like this. Let's taste one. Of course, it's a little frozen because I left it in there too long. I'm going to show you the inside of that. Y'all have a blessed day. Till next time, I'm Grandma Nene. I love every one of you. Goodbye.